call this meeting to order. First part of the meeting is a public hearing for the source water protection plan. And we'll leave that up to Commissioner Hardy.
All right, I talked to Monica Smith. We periodically have to do a source water protection plan. The final draft isn't complete, and all it does is look at the contaminants that could feasibly go into our drinking water. The report's going to show the same thing we've had before from where we've got it from the mill being a possible contaminant, mine runoff. Once we go to any water from Westernport, we're probably not going to even have to do a source water protection because it's going to be coming directly from Savage where they have theirs will cover it. So they had no issues with it. They're just doing a final report. They will detail any concerns they have. Of course, with the mill being shut down, they will be removing quite a few off their list of potential contaminants to drinking water. So they're happy with where we're at. As soon as that final report comes out, we'll share the findings. Anybody got any questions? Yes, sir.
Are we going to run out of water?
Tell you what, I don't want to get too much ahead of myself, but if the mill's shut down right now, we've already tested the raw water from system from Westernport, we will have water.
Okay.
I got a question too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, in the 2016 source water protection plan, it talked about quite a few things that we're dealing with today. It mentions the Westernport connection in there 4 years ago. And that was the most viable option of a water source, although only to the raw water connection is what they recommended in their plan. And that's what Piedmont says it adopted as its plan. There are several other things in there besides just the contamination. It does talk about things like dealing with emergencies and dealing with not just contamination, but alternate water sources.
Right.
And saying that you need to have a backup water source. You can't just have one water source. And they, in fact, in that last plan, right before this one, it recommended not connecting to Westernport's potable water because they draw from the same source from that Savage River that we would have anyway, and that it's a single source. And it violates our source water protection plan to have only a single source of water. So we still have to work on having some sort of other way to draw water in case Westernport's system goes down, which it could.
Yeah.
So that's still part of the protection plan.
And we will look into see exactly where that source can come from. Like I've mentioned before, from talking to the state of Maryland, we would not get a permit out of North Branch of Potomac. That's what Maryland's told us. Now,
Is that because of pollution in it? Or
they didn't tell me why, but I would be willing to guess.
so that's what we've been drinking now, but that's what we're drinking today. So
Right.
there was another thing in the source water protection plan about monitoring for chemicals in an emergency, and they budgeted and came up with a whole plan of what we were supposed to buy, which was a emergency monitoring system that would detect right at our source if something got spilled and some oil or gas got in from a train or a truck accident or something. It would set off an alarm. We'd know about it a couple hours ahead of when we'd be getting that water and we'd shut off our plant.
Yeah.
And that was in that plan 4 years ago. And as far as I can tell, nothing was ever taken
And
up
I
on
haven't
that.
seen a 2016 plan.
So who's, it's online. You can find it online. It's over 100 pages. Who's writing the new one right now?
I've talked to a Monica Smith.
From what agency?
I'll be honest with you, Denny, I'd have to look and see which one.
IGBC or Region 8 or one of those, you think? Or
I couldn't tell you. It's the first time I've talked to her.
Okay.
Because the protocol to get into the plan, right now, it'll be me and Eric Stowell's the only one to have the protocol to get into the plan. Once you have to have special password protection to get into it.
Into the plan itself? That's not true. It's a public document.
No, there's part of it.
There's a few small parts of it that you can't get into, but the bulk of it, the majority of it is public. I have a copy of it.
Yeah.
It's available online, and it tells a lot of it detailed information about alternate water sources, about community involvement also. There's some requirements in there about how the water utility interacts with its customers, and that we're supposed to have source water protection meetings every year. And there's supposed to be a little more back and forth. And I've been pushing for that hard for quite a while now, and I read this protection plan, and it's right in there in black and white. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing, is having frequent meetings, having input from the public, and telling us exactly what's going on and not surprising us. Because so far we get surprised every time we come in here. When he gave that last presentation, all the way up till the day of that presentation, we had been told that Piedmont was going to be considered as one residential customer on the town of Westernport and pay one $25 water tap for the entire town. When he gave that presentation, all of a sudden we find it's going to be a water tap fee for every customer in Piedmont.
Not for potable.
It was $20 for potable and $25 for the non-potable that we presented it.
But the original information that come out, the $20 fee on the potable does not, that has nothing to do with the $25 tap fee for the raw water, okay?
Well, it's going to be $20 per customer fee, though.
Right,
So almost 25. It's going to be,
but that's the charge of the water for your first 2,000 gallons. That's going to be your minimum charge for your minimum amount of water usage.
but that gets paid to Westernport, though.
Right, right.
Not to Piedmont. So how is Piedmont going to meet its expenses without that income?
Piedmont, with what we've got from the Public Service Commission and the rate increases that have come, according to what we've come up with coming up with a budget, it's going to cover, because the $25 is only for the raw water, the per tap.
But then it goes to 20 well, and even the 25, how are you going to pay for the 25 for a year?
What's that?
How are we going to pay the 25 a tap for raw water?
The increases is going to cover that according to our budget. We've sent the budget into the PSC.
The one that's just been approved, the one that, this increase that's just
No.
been approved?
I don't believe that was taken into consideration yet. Our numbers were figured on what they told us it was going to come to, which was $41 for minimum water usage. We ain't there yet.
And that's not going to cover your $25 though, even that 41.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
I have to put up an objection, because I don't see anywhere in your figures how you're going to pay all the expenses of the water plant, have anything left over for those $25 tap fees. Right now we pay nothing for raw water. Suddenly we're going to be paying for raw water. You're going to be writing a check to Westernport every month for $7,000. Where is that coming from?
And we've looked at the budget, and according to what we can see,
Did you do a Rule 42 document like they did in that PSC to figure out?
I can't tell you
Well,
that.
if you look through the PSC's paperwork that they released about this, it shows in detail the expenses of the water plant, how much the water plant costs, as far as what Piedmont said and what the PSC says. And those are the figures you should be using for what it's going to cost.
Right.
And from what I saw from your presentation, you're not using those figures.
Well, with
You're
all
using
due
your own
respect,
figures that are new, that came from I don't know where.
with all due respect, I got all the expenditures from the clerk of everything we paid in the prior year. I had to go back to the first prior year. That's where it was. And I can tell you right now, our expenses of the water plant are down much lower than they was with prior water operators.
That'll account for some, that'll account for some of the money, some of the $84,000 a year that we have to come up with. There's $84,000 a year now of additional expense for raw water, for water that we're going to be paid.
Right?
And nowhere in the budget does it show that kind of money that is available.
Well, if the Public Service Commission wants to sit down and talk to me about where I'm wrong on our budget, I'm more than happy to do that.
Well, you haven't submitted a budget for this new setup for our, unless you're saying that this increase now that we just got that's what we're paying now. We're going to be paying that through the connection to Westernport. Nothing's going to change for a while until something might go up or down. But as far as the flat covering the $25 and then turning into $20 or whichever way it goes, that we won't see an increase in our water rate because the Public Service Commission just gave you enough of a water increase to run the water plant with some reserves and with some extra left over for water plant expenses. So they've given you that. So I'm just saying, I think you're going to be coming back to us in a couple of months saying, oh, we need to have about a 60% increase now to cover for that.
Well, and I don't think they will. I've been in contact with the Public Service Commission. If they end up doing another review on the water, then they do another review on the water. If they don't think that budget's going to work, because when we get to a certain point, there's going to be those expenses dropping off.
Well, I'll just say one last thing. I would just suggest that you look at the report that the Public Service Commission put out, and they compare the numbers that Piedmont wanted and their numbers they recommend, and they have very detailed expenses in there. And I just don't think that what you showed in your presentation covered nearly all of the expenses that are involved. So, so you might be a little surprised when the first month, when we start paying that money to Westernport, and you're not getting that money in Piedmont anymore. So just, you know, we'll see how it goes. I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll go on into the regular meeting. Citizens' comments. Ms. Grace?
Oh, okay, I have a problem. Y'all know where Marsh Street is? Y'all know where Marsh Street is?
Marsh Street?
Marsh Street. You know Marsh Street? Oh,
No, I don't. I've been here all the way.
Marsh Street, where Marsh Street is the street that goes up the side, that's right, that's Marsh Street.
They used to have the steps going up?
Yeah, that's Marsh Street. And my garage is there. And a couple of years ago, we put a new roof on the garage, but then we had trees hanging, branches hanging over the garage. We might not have to put another roof on. That's going to damage my roof. Y'all know what we can do about it.
Who owns that property up there behind you?
Well,
Where you're talking about, Miss Grace? That's not you. Who owns that? Do you know?
that little house up there, the little greenhouse sits up top of the hill.
Yeah, that greenhouse and all that property where the steps are and to the left, and to
That
the left
little
of that.
greenhouse is up there.
That's all
belongs
grown
to
up.
That belongs to the gas company. That belongs
So
to
could
the
we
gas
make the gas company take care of that problem? I mean, all the way down to you, the gas company owns what you say.
I forgot my deed. I had my deed and I come off in a hurry and forgot it. But that's the gas company's building up there, right at the top.
We ought to be able to contact the gas company and,
I can look that up on that
Okay.
virtual map.
okay.
So I want to know what we can do about getting these branches off my roof, because I'm not about to put another roof on that garage.
Well, it's just been, and it's just not that. The weeds are growing up. We used to cut that years ago.
Uh-huh. Well, we used to use that, you know. We used to
Yeah,
use that
yeah, we
there,
used to
that's
keep
Marsh
that cut.
Street.
When I worked on the town as a kid, we cut that up in there.
Okay.
But if that belongs to the gas company, I don't see why we can't. Something could be done to make them cut that and maintain that.
Yeah.
We got that all over town, so,
Well, I know the voltage is,
yeah.
outgrowing everything, but I don't want to have to put another roof on my
No,
garage.
I don't
I
blame
don't think I'm going to live that long.
I don't blame you.
And I don't.
You shouldn't have to. It's growing from somebody else's property.
But the gas company, that's the gas company. I don't know if it's still, still operate that up there or not, I don't know. It's old, it's gas company up there. Now, I had my deed not come off and left it home, so I could show you where the gas company, that's the gas company. I just want to know what we can do about that. I don't want to have to put another roof on, just want some input on that.
Okay, well, let us check into it,
Okay,
see who owns it,
okay, that's fine.
like Carrie was saying. and We'll let you know.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, Danny?
I kind of covered what I was saying in that other thing, so I don't have anything else. Thanks.
Okay. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as read from last meeting.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Correspondence. I have one here from the United Way. Because of local donors, we can support programs in our community that give hope and change lives. When investments are made in our community through County United Way, they help more children succeed in school, more families lead healthy lives, and more people grow in their income to become financially stable. This reality is nearly half of households in our community are struggling, and that's where the United Way comes in. We fight for the most vulnerable among us. We fund collaborative impact programs through trusted nonprofit service providers and respond to emerging needs. As a local leader, it is important that you see our impact and know the trust that is put in United Way to leverage local investments for a better community. Please remember that your local United Way plays an important role in keeping dollars at home that help our friends and neighbors in need. And they've got a chart of all they do around the area. We'll post that up on the bulletin board. This one's from Charlestown chapter. I'm writing on behalf of the American Payroll Association to seek your support for Payroll Week in Piedmont, West Virginia. We believe the designation of the week in which Labor Day occurs as Payroll Week would go far to recognize the important contributions of the citizens who work to support the American dream and highlight the partnership between taxpayers and payroll professionals. The American Payroll Association represents 1,778,070 residents in our state and 35,963 businesses. Needless to say, these taxpayers and businesses contribute millions of dollars to the state and federal treasuries through payroll taxes each year. These taxes include both federal and state withholding, which go toward important civic projects including roads, schools, and parks. Taxpayers and payroll professionals are also partnering in supporting the Social Security and Medicare systems. In addition, companies are now playing an increasing important role in the enforcement of child support laws by calculating and deducting child support payments from workers' pay. Enclosed is a sample language for a proclamation which I believe captures the spirit of Payroll Week. I would, however, be happy to work with you or your staff to refine the language of the proclamation. I would also be interested in discussing additional projects for Payroll Week with your staff and participating in any project that can help improve the public's understanding of issues related to our payroll tax systems. Sincerely, Robin Underwood. Do we want to declare the week of Labor Day Payroll Week in Piedmont?
Yes, if you want to.
We also have one here from Comcast. I hope all is well. As we approach the beginning of a new school year, we recognize the importance of being connected to the internet at home. I want to make sure you are aware that Comcast continues to make it easier for low-income families to connect to the internet through their Internet Essentials. New Internet Essentials customers will receive 2 free months of internet service if they enroll in the program by December 31st, 2020. If you or any of your community partners would like to discuss the program in more detail, please contact me using the following information. You can also find additional details on how Comcast is supporting our community's customers and employees by visiting corporate.comcast.com/COVID-19. I am available for any questions. And you can post this on a bulletin board so people can, with children, can get the 2 free months. Anybody else have any correspondence? Officer reports. Paul?
I have a couple things. start out here with the financial report. First of all, I'll pass that. This is all the city's bills. This is what we owe. And so the city council is aware of what we have outstanding out here. Gonna look at that. And anybody wants to see that, it's available. And I want to give the balance of what we have currently in our major accounts in our general fund. We have $2,566.63. That's the balance right now. In our water account, we have $2,991.53. And in our sewer account, we have $322.39. These balances go up and down. So as we get bills in, as we pay out, so it fluctuates. That's the current balance as of right now. A couple other things I wanted to talk about. What I have here in front of me, you wonder why I was carrying this stuff in here, I'm sure. But, you know, we want to encourage people in this town to clean up and to clean up your areas, especially this month. I'd like to consider August. We couldn't do it in May, make May a cleanup month because of COVID. And it's hard to do it now, but you can clean up your own properties. And that's what we're encouraging. And that's what we're encouraging and helping with. And by helping, when I say that, by helping, got a hold of the West Virginia Environmental Protection Agency, and they have supplied us with supplies. So here's garbage bags that we have over at the city building. They got REP on them. This is what they gave us. And again, this is to encourage our own people to clean up your own areas. You know, it all starts with that. We clean up our own areas, the town looks a whole lot better. And that's our goal. Straighten the town up to clean the town up. And we can do that by hopefully supplying you with the supplies that you need to clean up and encourage you to clean up your areas, and that beautifies the town. So while we're all hunkered down with COVID, in our homes and around our homes, I think you can get out in your backyards and in your yard, your front yard, your sidewalks, and we want to encourage you to get involved in cleanups, especially for this month of August. But, so we have bags, we have some gloves. I don't have a whole lot of gloves, but I've got plenty of bags. So if you need gloves, and these little things, these are not for picking, well, I won't say it, but you know what this is. You know what this is. But we have a few of these. We don't have a lot, but this is for us older ones, the older folks, me. They don't want to bend down there and pick stuff up. We have some of these over there. So I say that joking, but you know what I'm talking about. The serious matter, the cleanliness of this community. And it starts with me and you cleaning up our own areas. And we went a step further and got the equipment that we need. But I'm asking, with having this equipment, you need to be a water customer. We don't want Westerport people coming and getting these supplies. We want Piedmont people to come and get the supplies that you need to help clean and beautify this town. So just come in and talk to Carrie. She's got them, we've got them over there at the city building, and plenty of garbage bags. So get out and clean your yards, clean your areas. We can do that, and it goes a long way to beautify this town. And that's what we all want. We all live here and we love this community, and we want it the best we can possibly have it. So that's available. Just go over and talk to Carrie, and Carrie will know whether you're a water customer or not. or you're from Western Border Kaiser, that's the only requirement. And we're not gonna give you a whole box, but don't be, get what you need. But remember, we got other people that are gonna need garbage bags and supplies as well. So we don't wanna be greedy, that's all I'm saying. So they're over there at the city building, talk to Karen.
Do a dumpster pull, do a dumpster.
We have a very small dumpster over there, but, that's about it.
Okay.
And we,
Over where?
it's over down from the city building.
I'm gonna park in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the city building and the clinic. Okay. Between the city building and the clinic in the back.
Well, since you bring that up, I will say, yeah, we don't have a dumpster if you dump these, so these, you fill these up, put them out on your regular trash, okay, your regular trash. So the city does not have, we got a small little dumpster, and we was not able to get anything on the major, large dumpsters like I was trying to do from the environmental agency. Because of COVID, they canceled that, so we wasn't able to do that. So you have to put that out on your own trash. So please don't leave it sitting alongside the road someplace. Put it out on your regular trash. The next thing, and I won't be long, is our last meeting, I passed out a copy of the city of Beckley and the city of Kaiser's garbage ordinance. We don't have a garbage ordinance in this town, and we need an ordinance in this town that regulates people not being responsible enough to keep their grass cut, to keep the weeds cut on your own properties, so that your neighbors have, and everybody else in the town, we have to think of it, everybody else, has to sit and suffer with our neglect. So you don't want to have an ordinance for that, but it looks like you do have to have an ordinance. Other places have to have it, and we need it too. You don't want to have to tell people you got to cut your grass, but yes, you do. You can't let your grass grow up to where you have to mow it with a mowing side or bale hay. Your neighbor has to suffer with that, and it's a hazard. Snake hazard, and the list goes on from there. So, I'm just asking, I passed it out to these guys here, I'm asking by the next meeting that you sit and go over that. I know we got the water, but we can walk and chew gum, we can do a lot of things at once. Look at that ordinance and go over it. And come next meeting, we have something together. We can sit down here and then make a decision on adopting and drafting an ordinance. Paul, she knows the process. I don't know the process. I just know what I see and feel that needs done. So I'm asking by next meeting, you guys will take a look at that closely and come in here, and we're ready to sit down and draft some sort of ordinance so we can move forward. Okay, because there's no reason for Miss Grace to have to suffer with her neighbors and the growth that's growing over on her, and the list goes on and on all throughout this town. And so we have to do something, and this is the step. We make our own ordinance with some teeth. And I've already talked to West Virginia Municipal League, and this is recommended from them. Beckley and Kaiser, they both have teeth in their ordinances. And so I don't see why we can't adopt it as is, but that's up to you guys. I got one other thing, is I talked with Jim Hanna, city manager in Kaiser, about the street sweeper, and he's given me a preliminary price on coming up and doing our major streets in Piedmont is what I want to see done. Downtown, Kenny House Hill, East and West Hampshire, and our major streets. We can't do all the streets, but our major streets. And he gave me a preliminary cost and going to get back with me later on this week. And And I'll pass that on in the next meeting, but we will have a street sweeper come up here from Kaiser if we agree on accepting their price. But, and I got one other thing somebody asked me to bring up, and I don't want to forget that. Up on Harrison Street, that would be East Harrison Street. We got some of the folks that live up on there that are complaining about speeders on that street. And they asked me to bring that up, so I'm bringing it up, and so we can go from there and do whatever we have to do. I know years ago, I brought it up on the street below that, West Hampshire. There's a lot of young kids, cars were speeding up and down there. We put up a sign, 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, it's still sitting there today. So I'm gonna bring it up, and something you can throw around, consider, but we need to do something to get people to slow down on that, and you live on that street. I think I'm seeing you through the mask.
That street, it's like Indianapolis 500.
Okay.
It's fly high. Luckily, we don't have a lot of small kids playing in the street. Yeah, and they're texting, they're on the cell phones, they don't care. And it's a one-way street basically, because they're parking on one side, and then you've got one lane. So if something would go off, there'd be nowhere to go. You know, but yeah, it's a problem, that's one
Okay.
problem.
Well, there needs to be a speed limit.
There's
There needs to be a speed limit.
out on, at the end of West Harrison Street, there is a 15-mile-an-hour sign, but you can't see it. The bushes and trees and stuff all over in front of it.
Where's it at?
Mrs. Gilmore's house. They have his mom's house.
There's a
Oh,
sign
okay.
there, but you can't see
Can't
it.
see it,
You want to get the guy-
brush it through it out
Okay.
there.
Well, we'll do
Of
something.
course, they should know about it.
That's all I have.
Roll call, there's not a whole lot going on actually, it's still pretty wide. The only thing I would like to put in is that there's still no mulch. There's still no mulch, and I really would like to tie this up with the health department and their inspection from April. It's the last thing on the list that has not been corrected that they pointed out, and as soon as it is, respond to her and let them know that we've done everything we were supposed to do on it. Like I said, Jack said he has it down there, we just gotta get the guys to go down and get it. Oh, yeah, and the truck was broke down, and the truck is done now, the dump truck.
You should be delivering it tomorrow.
So that'll be good, thanks. We get the truck back and they can take it down. Because they took it, did they take it tomorrow?
I don't know. But he was in today and he said the truck is done. And he's been running it just to make sure that it's not gonna leak or anything, and he said it's been no good.
Good.
So,
The truck back. Good deal. Rick?
I don't really have anything going on that, I haven't talked to Eric yet, I haven't seen him, so I really don't.
he's got reserves.
That's why I got that question. Other than that, I see they got Woodlawn done, I don't know what else they have planned to do, like I said, I don't know what Eric left or who left in charge, but, I don't know if we're over it. Other than that, that's about it.
Rick?
We did have a sewer issue on Fairview Street. Public Service Commission come in today. They're satisfied with the plan to get that remedied. We had talked about the high pressure hose. I talked to Pam Keplinger today. There could be some funding. She's gonna let me know next week that we can pay for the high pressure hose out of the leftover grant money from the sewer. Other than that, we did the tie-in with the Western Fork raw water, and we tested it last week. Test went real well. We got everything set to where it's at. Hopefully, we never have to use it. And they're still waiting on the Western Port to Luke line. My understanding is they're cutting trees and no supplies have been ordered yet. To complete that project, they're looking at October. So, other than that, I think we've discussed pretty much everything else that's going on with the water for now. The drawdowns later on.
Yes.
I don't want anything too far if you come back to me.
Right.
I almost forgot about it, but the guy stopped me out front out here as I was coming in the door and wanted me to bring up about the weeds growing around this parking lot here on the wall. So he asked me to pass that on, so passing that on to you, Rick. Greg Rose Street, Radio Street.
I don't think Verso ended up doing a half-decent job on it.
I think it looks
Oh, they
great.
get it done back there?
They did.
I think it looks great.
Second Street, Jones Street and Second Street.
Oh.
They got it cut to where you can walk under it.
I think it looks wonderful. We've been 2 years working on that, and that's wonderful. I think it looks great.
Harold Stafford's all over.
That doesn't surprise me.
Okay, down to unfinished business, we have a water drawdown. If this is for,
For the raw water connection. When they completed it, I think the estimated cost was $66,000, and it would be split between us and Verso. Other than the cosmetic end of it, they had to put the lid on it and stuff like that. Final bill come in at about $36,000. So, we're about, oh yeah, we're $30,000 under budget right now, which
yeah.
typically definitely.
Yeah, the drawdown is here, and half of it is to be paid by the IJDC. First, we need a copy of the invoice showing their share. So the total was $36,929.71. So the split is $18,464.86 to the IJDC and $18,464.85 to Verso. Todd is to send ours to IJDC, is that what you said? No, Pam.
Well, a copy of
A
that.
copy of that is going to the IJDC, and we said Todd will get ours to Verso.
Todd's gonna send it to Brian Russell, Verso's attorney. I think we just gotta make a motion.
So I have to have a motion to accept the drawdown for the TAP, emergency water project TAP.
I make a motion to either draw down on the raw water emergency tap water into Western Control.
Got a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Get the sign and get the payment. Okay. The hoagie sale for the pool, we sold 176 hoagies. They'll be in tomorrow at 10:30. I'll get them bagged up and get them out to everybody. The next meeting, I'll let you know how much we made on that. I'm hoping, still trying to get the t-shirt order in, haven't got there yet, but that's for the stage. But the hoagies will be in tomorrow at 10:30. Anybody that wants to come directly to the library and get them, they can. If not, I'll get them delivered out. Okay, you already talked about your cleanup supplies, right? Emergency water project. That was, okay.
Yep.
We needed to do an executive session to talk about personnel matters.
Yeah,
I don't have a motion.
I make a motion we went into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Nothing that we decide, I mean, out of the executive session will be voted on. There's nothing to be done. The meeting will be adjourned as soon as we go back into regular session. We close the meeting. Enough. Right now,